In case you forgot, the Georgia Bulldogs have the current longest home winning streak in SEC history. The Dogs have won 31 games in a row by my counts and haven't lost a home game since getting knocked off by unranked South Carolina in 2019. The Dogs have won 31 straight games at home. That is tied with Alabama for the longest streak in SEC history. The Crimson Tide went 2015 to 2019 during their home winning streak. And again, the Dogs haven't lost a home game between the hedges since 2019. But this upcoming season is going to test that streak. Listen, if the Dogs go undefeated in Athens at home again in 2025, you might be looking at a national championship team, because as good as, or as tough as the season was last year, it's a little easier now that it's reversed, right? Everyone they went and played on the road against last year, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Alabama, Texas, they're all playing in Athens this year. So as we've said in the past, this should probably be Georgia's biggest home schedule that they've had in a long time, possibly ever. And a lot of these games should be at night, right? Georgia should be hosting Alabama at night, Texas at night. We'll see how good Ole Miss is. That could be a night game. And then, of course, the game against Georgia Tech is in Atlanta. They got 7 home games, but it's going to be probably the toughest home stretch that we've seen in a long time. And that's what I'm going to break down in this video. So with one more win, they will set the record for most consecutive home wins in SEC history. Even, I guess, if it's not, against an SEC opponent. They have Marshall coming to town. That's cupcake number 1. Couple cupcakes to start the 25 season. No one wants it. They're there. Georgia has played really quality teams. Clemson and Oregon come to mind immediately to kickoff seasons in the recent past. So it's not like Georgia never opens up with a quality opponent. People like to say that, especially, to start the 23 season, bunch of cupcakes. This upcoming season, bunch of cupcakes. They got Marshall, they got Austin Peay. Who cares? But Alabama comes to town 9-27. And with the transfer portal the way it is, it's hard to say right now how good these teams are, because they're bringing in guys are leaving. I think Alabama still needs to hit the portal hard, because they lost, several impactful players. And I thought, I could be wrong there, but it seemed like a lot of guys hit the portal. I don't know how impactful most of them are. Maybe it wasn't much at all, right? At Georgia, most of the time when someone transfers, it's because they're not playing or they're not good enough to play at Georgia. And that's okay. That's totally fine to say, because it's factual, right? Not everyone's good enough to play at Georgia or Alabama. So while we're seeing several guys transfer away, they're still bringing in guys who might make their team better. So I expect Alabama to be better than they were last year, because they lost to Vanderbilt. They did beat Georgia barely. They hung on. But, they're also losing to Tennessee again. And who they lose to? Oh, Oklahoma? Oklahoma? Are you kidding me? That was not a good Alabama team. And that's an Alabama team that Georgia should have beat last year, even if it was in Tuscaloosa. But Ty Simpson, I expect, will be the quarterback at Alabama. That kid's good. I think Ty Simpson's a really good quarterback and could be one of the best quarterbacks in the conference next year. I truly believe that. This kid can spin it. I think he's a leader. I think he's got the potential to be a really good quarterback. So I think they got a guy that can lead them pretty far. I just don't know about all the other pieces just yet. They've got Ryan Williams. They got a stable of backs still, even though Justice Haynes transferred to Michigan. I think they've got some key defenders coming back. So Alabama should be good, and that should be a big game. But we'll see. But if they can beat Alabama at home, that's going to tell you something about this team, because we don't know how good Georgia's going to be. They've got Gunnar Stockton coming in, who is still somewhat of a question mark, right? They're losing their Butkus Award winner. They're losing their best safety. They're losing their best edge defender. Other defensive linemen, right? They're the best pass rusher that you thought would be on the roster this spring. He transferred to Missouri. Trevor Etienne is gone. You still have a banged up, running back room that you'd like to get healthy. The offensive line, you're replacing 3 to 4 starters there. So Georgia should have a good team. I'm not saying they're gonna, win the championship just yet, right? There's several good teams, but Alabama should be a tough game. If they can win that one in Athens, it's a big deal. They've got Kentucky coming to town October 4th. Kentucky hasn't won they haven't beat Georgia or won a game in Athens since 2009. I don't know who the starter is going to be. It might be that kid with the funny name up there. I'm blanking on his name, but Cut or something. I think they signed like a high 4-star kid from Kentucky a couple recruiting cycles ago that could be their guy. I don't know, but I know they're probably not going to beat Georgia. I say probably. I strongly feel like whatever they're going to put together coming to Athens, it ain't going to be good enough. Ole Miss comes to town October 18th. I think their quarterback's going to be Austin Simmons. They've got to replace, obviously, Jackson Dart at quarterback, and I think Simmons can do that. I think he'll be fine in that system. He had that one drive against Georgia where he marched them down the field. They scored, and the kid looks like he knows what he's doing. They've got to replace some wide receivers. Juice Wells, Trey Harris, I believe, are both off to the NFL. They've got Caden Lee, my guy that I covered in high school, solid player. They have him returning and a few others, but they've hit the portal hard. They've got a lot of guys coming in, and I think Ole Miss should be a pretty solid team. Top 15 team, a team that pushes for a playoff spot if things can go their way, but it's going to be tough to beat Georgia in Athens. But we'll see if Austin Simmons is a guy that, they can really rally behind and they can replace some of those weapons. I think that they've got enough coming back defensively to where they should be okay there, still adding some pieces. But Ole Miss should be a solid quality team. It's not going to be easy to beat them in Athens, but I think Georgia, they obviously can. They got to get it done. And again, at the end of the day, there could be a lot of close games. It's going to be up to the team to make plays. And we still don't know. Georgia's going to add some more guys through the portal. I don't know how many, but it still feels like there's a hole or two where they can add guys. So Georgia could be better than they are right now, and so could these other teams. But it's hard to say how good a team is going to be in August when it's January. But looking at the home schedule, it's something to talk about because this streak that they're on right now could be the longest home winning streak they ever have, right? It's the longest we've seen in SEC history. And if they can beat Alabama, Ole Miss, and Texas at home, that would be something pretty remarkable. Texas should be really good again. Arch Manning should be the guy. They're replacing Matthew Golden and Isaiah Bond. But they've got receivers. There was a 5-star that's made plays throughout the season. I'm blanking on his name. Georgia liked him, but nothing really materialized enough in the summer. I'll probably think of his name at the end of this video and then blurt it out loud, or I'll probably forget, to be honest with you. But Texas has guys. They've got players. They've got enough on defense. Guys waiting in the wings that I think are really talented. They've got a stable of backs. And if Arch Manning in year 3 is as good as people think he would be in year 3, Texas is going to be tough to beat. This is their first game in Athens since, I don't know. I don't know if they've ever played in Athens. Some of you older fans, historical fans, right, can tell me. But Athens is going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. And especially if these games are at night like I expect, the Georgia fans have a real opportunity to make a difference. I don't think the 25 Georgia team is going to roll through teams like the 21 team did and the 22 team did, and in some ways the 23 team did, right? I think we're going to see with this era of college football in the portal, there's a lot of parity going on. And, teams that are able to add guys through the portal consistently can get a little better and better. And, we're not seeing as many blowouts as we've seen in years past, and I think that could absolutely translate to 25. So there could be a lot of fights, and there could be a lot of close games for the Dogs in the 25 season. They do have Tennessee and Auburn on the road. Those won't be tough games. Those won't be easy games either. Those are going to be fights, but they're going to have some fights in Athens, and I think the Georgia fans have an opportunity to make a difference and be a game changer like we saw that fan base be in 22, in 21, and against Notre Dame in 19, and even in 17. There were some big time moments in Athens, and when it's a big game, the fans show up. When Missouri comes to town, South Carolina, the fans might show up. But when Alabama's in town, and Texas, and Ole Miss, after what happened last year, the Ole Miss, the experience, the stadium, the crowd for the Ole Miss game in 23, I thought was great. It was at night too, and I'm expecting it to be even better this upcoming season because it's not guaranteed that Georgia wins any of those games, and they might need the crowd to be alive and for 4 quarters and make a difference when Alabama might have Ty Simpson would be a new quarterback, right? Coming into Athens, big game early in the season. Wouldn't surprise me at all if the Georgia fans did their best to rattle him. Austin Simmons coming to Athens. That might be the biggest game he's had to play up until that point. That game is, again, in mid-October. So a new quarterback for them coming into Athens that the fan base should, make things difficult for him. And then Arch Manning. He's been to Athens. He knows what a game day experience and environment is like, but he's never done it as an opposing player in Athens as the starter. So new quarterbacks coming into Athens in their first year as a starter, it could be difficult for them. But at the end of the day, if Georgia continues this streak, this home winning streak they've got, and they don't lose this upcoming fall with all these great teams coming to town, they're going to be set up to where they could possibly win another national championship. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. You can read more about this on Dawg Post. So I'll see you over on the website.